4.2.
The English language is evolving. Traditionally, though men were only Mr., women had the choice of the title Miss or Mrs., via which their marital status was clearly identified. This is now becoming a thing of the past, and the title Ms. is a common choice if a woman doesn't wish to identify whether she is married or not. Other formally standard words and expressions have come to be seen as discriminating against women, either because they are based on male terminology or because they appear to give women a status that is less important than the male equivalent. For example, job titles now more usually reflect the fact that jobs once mainly done by men are increasingly carried out by either sex. People are becoming more and more aware of the need for gender neutrality. However, it's still easy to offend by inadvertently using language that might be considered sexist. The overall aim should be to use language which includes both men and women and makes no distinction between them. So here are 6 ways in which you can easily make your language gender neutral and avoid causing offence. Firstly, choose the neutral word unless the gender is relevant to the context. The use of person as a gender-neutral alternative to man in words referring to occupations and roles in society is a relatively new development in the English language. It began in the 1970s, when the word chairperson was first used as a replacement for chairman, and we now also use the neutral word chair. So we say spokesperson, not spokesman, and salesperson, not salesman. However, we don't always automatically substitute person for man. We don't talk about a police person, for example, nor a fire person, nor a dust person. Since women are generally as likely as men to be involved in an occupation or activity nowadays, this type of word is increasingly being replaced, and a new term altogether has emerged as the gender-neutral alternative. Not policeman or policewoman, but police officer. Not fireman, but firefighter. Not dustman, but refuse collector. And not air hostess, but cabin crew. A second way to make your language gender neutral is to avoid the suffix s. That's ESS. This suffix has been used since medieval times to form nouns referring to women or girls by adding it to a male noun. For example, actor, actress. Towards the end of the 20th century, people started to view the feminine forms like this as old-fashioned and patronising. As a result, the former male form is now increasingly used as a gender-neutral noun, and the gender of the person concerned no longer needs to be specified because it's seen as irrelevant. So manager rather than manageress. It's worth noting that a few female forms have a different meaning from the male form. For example, a governor is the official head of a region or country, whilst a governess, now not a very common role, is a woman employed to teach the children of a rich family in their home. Thirdly, don't say man when you mean everybody. Nowadays, many people object to the use of the word man to refer to all human beings. In Old English, the word man meant human being. But now, to refer to humanity in general, try to avoid the use of man or mankind. There are a number of gender-neutral alternatives, depending on the context. Talk about the future of the human race, for example, rather than the future of mankind. Instead of describing a manpower shortage, refer to a shortage of staff or workers. Never ask somebody to man the front desk when it can be staffed or run. The adjective man-made is easily replaceable by synthetic or artificial, whilst the opinion of the man in the street is really just the opinion of the average person or ordinary people. Another important thing is to use woman not girl. An absolute no-no is to use girl to refer to any woman in a particular job or role. It reduces women to the status of children, ignoring their maturity in terms of age or experience. So while you might hear your grandfather referring to the news girl on his favourite morning TV programme or the shop girl at his local convenience store, you are advised to describe these people as the woman who presents the news and the woman who works in the shop. The fifth recommendation is to beware of personal pronouns. In English, a person's gender is explicit in the third-person singular pronouns, i.e. he, she, his, hers, etc. There are no personal pronouns that can refer to someone without identifying whether that person is male or female. So, what should you do in a sentence such as, "A doctor should always tell his patients the truth"? In the past, the use of his in his patients was the automatic choice. Nowadays, however, there are other options. You can use his or her. A doctor should always tell his or her patients the truth. Or the plural, their, even with a singular noun. A doctor should always tell their patients the truth. A good solution, where possible, is to make the noun plural and reword the sentence. Doctors should always tell their patients the truth. The final piece of advice is to be careful with binomials. Binomials, phrases consisting of two words joined by a conjunction such as and, typically place the male word before the female. So, men and women, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, and back to where we started, Mr. and Mrs. Just remember, you don't have to put the male word first. Mix it up, girls and boys. Even though things are changing, you are likely to hear gendered language frequently. The best advice is keep your eyes and ears open and think before you speak.